So, it's about time to start. I'm trying to get everything together, and we are soon starting our first tables. I'm thinking about that we are going to have an interesting session today, and for an interesting session there will be a lot of really nice tournaments going on today. We'll start with the $22 Hold'em, and it will be the first one. It has just started, so we can get in, and we are trying to play some normal speed tournaments at the beginning of this broadcast, and as the night goes we are going to go increasingly more turbo and hyper turbo. And we know that we can't be playing for a long time because it's going to be Super Bowl night today, and I know that whatever we do, we just can't beat Super Bowl, so we will be ending before it, but if we aren't, it's going to be even better, because then I know that we are going to make great money. But welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome on my behalf as well, and maybe there is a time for a short introduction on our part. Who we are and what do we do? My name is Dayah. I'm a professional poker player and a supernova at the moment at PokerStars. And Aarnimetsa here is my fiancé, and he's a professional poker player as well. And this is our second session of the coaching in English, and we just are about to start the evening, so welcome aboard.
So we started with our first big game. The bigger $109 has just begun, and I thought that it will be a really nice big game to start this evening. And just because I love these $11 progressive knockouts, we are going to have one as well. Super Bowl, I think it will start at midnight GMT or 2 o'clock Finnish time. And for Puzzlepet it's probably 1 o'clock. I think Spain differs by 1 hour from our time. I'm thinking if there are good games that we could late reg too. We are going to c-bet the jacks here. We are so deep that I think that 3-betting jacks preflop is the way to go. And that's pretty much the problem with jacks, that when you are happy with the flop, you aren't going to get action, and if you are not happy with the flop, you are always playing a guessing game. Does my opponent have the king or the ace that has just landed? But yes, I have been a professional poker player. I'm a supernova, as you can see on the tables, and I have been supernova for 2 years, and I don't know what I'm aiming this year. At least I'm doing supernova on stars, but I don't know about other goals yet. Like last year my best day was 6,000 VPPs, so I could be aiming for supernova elite, but I think that it's just too much for me. And there is also the bigger 22. We are late regging to it, and usually I don't like to late reg because my edge is going to be biggest at the beginning of the tournament, and if I'm not in the tournament at the beginning of it, I'm going to waste some of my edge. But I think with the bigger 22 there are so many satellites in it, so it will be a soft game. And that's why I took the bigger 109. I wouldn't take a regular 109 game, but I think that they are running so much satellites to the bigger $109 game that it's going to be a good game. And there is one supernova elite on my tables, and I'm going to mark him as a reg instantly because I don't think that they are doing that much stupid mistakes. There is one Team Poker Strategy, Team PokerStars Pro, and he's from Brazil. I don't like to mark the Team Poker Strategy players instantly because I think some of the players aren't there because they are good poker players, but because they are marketable. So I'm not going to mark the pro, but I'm going to mark the one that's played a ton. Usually if you see the 1 million VPP sign, that's pretty much a sign that you can mark him as a reg anyway, because if he has raked $180,000 to PokerStars, he probably doesn't have enough leaks to make him a terrible player and someone that I want to play against. There might be players that they are playing different games as their main game, and they might have enough leaks, but I think as a first guess, marking them as a reg isn't a mistake. And as Kauris said that we don't play Super Bowl here, I think we can differ in opinion about that as well. I'm not taking the Hotter 11 as a late reg tourney because it's a turbo, so my edge is going to be less in those games. And if I'm late regging half an hour when it has already started, I don't think I could make that much of an edge to the game anyways.
Are there any nice T-Cube events that you might be considering?
Today is the final day of the T-Cube, and they are having just on Hold'em side, they are having, when we began, they were only having the $700 main event that's running right now, and then there is the $2,100 high roller, and I think they are both a bit too rich for me to be playing. I took a turbo knockout that has been running for 15 minutes because I think that it's going to be a good game. And now I have one game too much. Oh well, I forgot about the sit and go I had registered too. But we'll see. We are also monitoring the Justin TV chat, so if you have any comments on there, you can use it or you can use our chat. I think it's kind of weird because I am not a deep stack specialist by any means, but still my edge in big blinds per 100 hands is biggest at the beginning stages of the tournaments when there are many casual players still in, and also when the stacks are deepest there is most opportunities to play the players. Like there, I think I'm better than the field, and I'm better compared to the field. I'm better at the end game than the beginning stages of the game, but still the beginning phases, the attainable edges are so much larger there. So that's why I think I'm wasting some of my edge if I'm not, because even though I'm not as good compared to the field, in the beginning stages I'm still ahead of the field, and when I get more hands to play against the field, then I'll raise my edge all the time.
Maybe you could lower your HUD bar down there a little bit.
I don't think so because it's on the edge of the...
Already.
It's going to be on the edge of the screen.
If you have difficulties to see the explanation for the HUD, I posted that on our webpage where you probably found this broadcast as well. So take a look at there if you cannot see what the HUD means.
Your reasoning for the Jack 9 river check. If I remember it correctly, I'm out of position and I think that I'm going to get more from Matse if he has the chance to bet and he has the chance to turn some of his hands as a bluff. And if I'm betting myself, then he needs to have a slightly better hand to call me, and if he raises me, I think I need to, even though I have the top pair, I don't like calling that much on that that pays. And Matse has been, when he raised the turn, I think he's quite inclined to bet the river as well.
What hand did he have?
I had top pair, and on the turn I had open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, but Matse, what did he have?
I don't know actually.
I think it would be good to check for the future reference.
Yeah, it's always good. I'm just forgetting about these things when usually I play a lot more tables. Matse had 10, so like this would be a hand that I would have gotten more if I would have bet the river, because he had a hand that will call but isn't going to bet. But I think compared to his whole range, I'm getting more out of his whole range if I give him the opportunity to be the one to bet. So that's my reasoning for the river check, and that's good that we have differing opinions. And on this turbo knockout, I'm just calling sixes. I think it's always going to be profitable. Like, I'm usually thinking if I'm going to flat call, I'm using the call 20 rule. So, and it's a generalization that when he's an UTG opener, I think that his range will be a lot tighter. So I'm going to then follow the call 20 rule quite literally. Like, the call 20 rule states that you have to have effectively against your opponent at least 20 times as much that you are required to call. So that when Mura raised to 100, we had 3k effective stacks. I had 30 times more. So it's an easy call as a set mining proposition. And the chances of hitting a set, it's about 1 in 8. But there is the possibility that we are not getting value for our set. And also there are some spots that someone wakes up behind us and raises, and we are not going to see the flop cheaply. So that's why we are needing more than our chance to hit the set. And I'm trying to reason with all the tables that I'm having in here, that what is the best option with all the tables, so my neck doesn't break in the middle of this set, because I have some tables on the other screen as well.
Excuse me for a while. I'll go and do some changes for the forum for information.
Actually, this is probably better to open at 2.5 times. Jack 8 suited, even though we have position, it's 1 in 4. It's going to be a tight fold, but I'm advocating a bit tighter play at the beginning. You can't win the tournament at the beginning stages, but you can always lose it. Of course, if I'm trying to, and now I have 6 tables, so we are going to have something interesting going on. I'm going to switch this $22 game out. The 12k guarantee, I think that's the least interesting game that we have on screen, because I think we are going to include an even nicer game. And now I'm betting Queen 6 for value, because I think that I can get a call from something weaker, because we are not projecting much. So we are having a $25 hyper turbo. And I thought to talk to the guys at the other chat that they can't see the chat, but that would be quite stupid. And why would that be? Because if they can't see the stream, they probably can't hear me talking. So, but well, at least I'm thinking out loud, so I'm going to seem stupid to both ways. But I think, like, in the Jack 9 hand, it's against his instant hand. It's going to be my choice was worse, but against the whole range, my choice was better, and I think that's one of the mistakes that most players are making, that they are not thinking about the whole range, they are just thinking what just happened on the table. And that's something that's really, really hard to learn, I think. And Kauris 84, they are very mega fields, so I hope that we are getting far in few of those. And I think we are going to include the Sunday Million as well. It's going to start in an hour, right? And Sunday Storm we are going to include for sure. So we are going to have interesting tourneys, I hope. And we are having mega fields because they are usually the more interesting, but we are trying to get a good mix, that there are going to be smaller fields and larger fields, so that we can see the whole tournament structure. Like, I hope that we can see everything to the final table, but that's something that I always wish when I start MTT coaching, because without final tables, without victories, MTT games are going to be really tough on your bankroll and your mental state. And if we are going to carry on through the Super Bowl, I'm probably going to move somewhere that I can see Super Bowl as well, and some of you on the stream can teach me, like, how the hell does the American football work? Because it's something that I haven't watched, and I don't understand. Usually on the Super Bowl time, I'm going to see some of the American football when it's on TV, but that's not my usual kind of entertainment, so I don't understand pretty much next to nothing about it. Kauris, I said that it's going to be an interesting Sunday set. And now Kyberi is probably volunteering to be the teacher for Super Bowl, so that we can Skype to him and ask questions about what are the rules in this spot. Because he's going to be our resident American football expert, and I think he plays the sport in Finland, so we can get some. And Sunday Million victory already went to Tupe. I think Tupe is going to ship like everything that's high, and Tupe is also playing the T-Coupe main event and T-Coupe high roller, so if we are playing to the morning and we are getting to the same final table in the Sunday Million with Tupe, I think it's going to be really interesting. But like, if I'm looking at this table on the $109 game, there is one Supernova, one that I know that's good, one Supernova Elite that I presume is good, and then there is also one PokerStars Pro. I can't see much value in my table, but I think also on this bigger $109 game, I think it's just the table that I've gotten into. I think there will be more value tables in the future, because there are so many satellites running for the bigger $109 game. And I must say, I like hockey more than American football, because I think it's simpler and I have grown up with the game, so that's something I know, and American football is something that I don't know. These will be slightly interesting. I'm going to break the call 20 rule a bit. If we would have had like 1.8k to 2k effective stacks, I would have just shoved this hand Like shoving means that I would have been put myself all in, but with 2.6k the risk to reward ratio isn't going to be good enough for me to be shoving nines against a presumably tight player. And we could see an ace, so presumably I'd say that he's not having aces then, but he's having something like ace king, ace queen, and we would have been flipping there. And with the amount of money already in the pot, it would have been good to flip against him.
I see you're already going here with a full force. Good stuff.
Yeah, and you got our other community engaged as well, so you have been sharing the link to the broadcast.
Yes, I put the link correctly to also our English and our Finnish site, so everything should be okay. And there are lots of people helping us with that job, so I have no worries. There was already somebody sending the correct link, so it's good that I have some backups on the forum as well.
And folding nines to an iPad player, I think that's part of the problem, and I think PokerStars is doing a bit of a disservice to everyone playing with mobile phones and tablets, because you can instantly know that the tablet or mobile phone players, they are not having a HUD. They are usually casual players. I think like probably 9 out of 10 players that are playing with a tablet or a mobile phone, they are not that good. And if I would be playing more on my mobile phone or tablet, I wouldn't like to show it to the rest of the world that I'm playing on a mobile phone. On the hyper, I'm going to be active in stealing. Like this guy has been folding his or her big blinds to me like all the time, and I'm trying to be more aggressive as the rest of the guys in stealing. And as it's a hyper turbo, and it's not just about the hyper turbo structure, but I'm going to be min raising a lot more on that table, and on these tables I'm going to be raising higher. And the reason for that is because of the effective stacks, and right now the effective stacks are just like we are having only 14 effective big blinds there because the antes are so high. So, and we are going to bet large-ish here. We could have bet close to 500 because he's a very loose player, and I don't think that he's going to be folding much. And now we are trying to get it in against him and having a nice stack to shove on the river. And this is going to be for value, because I think that generally these kind of players that are playing about 1/4 of their hands and not much of the hands aggressively, they are going to be calling post flop too much as well. So I'm trying to extract maximum value out of the guy. And also I mark him as probably not a good player, and I mark him as a player that I want to play more against. On the Finnish community, I think that for chance, for the Finnish community, I think one player there tested it, and I think that when he tested it, he found out that it only removes the tags for the other players, but it doesn't remove the tag for you that shows to other players. But I haven't tested it so I don't know for sure, but I think that if you can remove the tags, they are surprisingly large number of players that choose not to.
That was a nice double with the jacks. Easy call when Skariot shoved.
Yeah, that was an easy call.
What would have been your bottom range there?
I think something like 7 6s, and also something like, I think that I'm going to call when he's a purple player that plays very aggressively. Actually, I would be calling sixes, then something like ace 9 suited, ace jack off, king queen suited, king queen off. Practically probably not king queen off, but at least king queen suited. On Callum's side, I'm pretty tempted to call also with nines if I'm the only opener and the guy shoves 30 big blinds. But when there has been one opener and one guy that flatted, like us, we flat called the bet with nines. So after that there is more included in the pot, and it makes more sense for the guy to shove the close to 30 big blinds. So that also means that it's going to make more sense for him to shove the stronger hands as well. And hopefully we would be eliminating more players on the $25 hyper, but nope, not this time.
But anyway, it was a no-brain call. You got the pot odds easily.
And usually I'm trying to abuse players as much as I can until they start playing against me. And as I'm slightly slow to learn, it usually takes me, like, they need to play against me twice or three times, so that I know that they are definitely playing against me and not just having good cards, before I start to tighten up my play. I would have liked on a $54 turbo knockout, I would have liked to shove a lot of hands against the Mura, but when I have 5-10, well, some can say that 5-10 off is the best drawing hand because you can draw to half of the flushes and every single one of the straights, because every straight needs to include at least a 5 or a 10. So, but in reality the hand isn't going to be playing that well.
I'm so happy that you came into senses. Because the reality is the one thing that matters the most.
Yeah, and on this $54 table, why I would have been inclined to shove against Mura would be that he or she has been playing very aggressively. So I think that he's opening a very wide range on the button, and on the very wide range he should be folding a lot of his hands. But when we don't have a hand that has any kind of value, we just can't be 3-betting that wide, because it starts to get spooky pretty easily. Or what's your opinion? What would have been the 3-betting range that you would think that would be profitable against a very, very loose and aggressive player there?
That's an interesting spot. You have 35 hands against him. He's definitely an aggressive guy, but how many situations you have that he has been able to steal from the button?
Not very many, but he has been playing very aggressively from every single spot. I think it's going to be like two from button and 2 from CO, and he has been using 2 out of 4, so.
It's tough to say. Probably most of the pairs, maybe even all, but still, since we are not that sure about the guy, I definitely wouldn't have shoved with 10-5. Broadway hands, of course, probably all of them.
And we are having some kind of internet troubles with PokerStars. It took me forever to see that my action has gone through, so we need to be pretty conscious about what's happening on the games, and we need to be acting quickly so that we don't lose any hands.
True. But of course we have the backup internet if that's internet problem.
And I'm trying to get someone to squeeze behind me. There are aggressive players behind me, and also I think that we can extract more out of Mura this way, because he or she should be pretty inclined to also bet the flop, and when he doesn't bet the flop, then I'm going to bet for value because there are many draws available, and I think that I'm going to get something out of him, even if he has some kind of overcards. If the flop would have been rainbow and more separated, I would be more inclined to give her space to melt down.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for some kind of check raise out of him, but nothing happened. I was thinking that he would or she would call also with overcards, but surprisingly not.
On the hyper, I'm still going to be aggressive in stealing, and now we have had some bad luck because we moved tables, I think, and like the Gonzalez took it to the flop and then check raised us. But usually out in position you need a reason to not c-bet and not a reason to c-bet, because continuation betting against people, it's going to work so often in position, so it's going to be an interesting spot, and we are betting, of course, completely as a bluff. Like, we have 3 cards to a straight and 1 overcard, so it's going to be completely as a bluff. And now we are also having an interesting spot because I'm going to call You're So Lucky and mounts few more.
And just like you ordered.
If they are both going all in, then I'm not going to call with King Jack, but if only You're So Lucky is going all in, I'm going to get insanely good odds. I'm not getting 2-1, but I'm getting something that I require only 37%. So it's going to be good odds for me, but not this time. Well, this is hypers.
Odds were there, your cards didn't match. That's life.
That's something that poker playing actually improves. That you are taking the life's bad beats also better when you know that there is going to be variance in pretty much everything, and you are used to knowing that you can't affect everything. So, and now with 5s we just have too much in the pot. We don't need much in way of the odds, because he's going to feel a lot of pressure against another big stack, and we are going to most likely have a lot of dead money in the pot as well, as at least compared to our own stack. So we are not going to give up. We are not going to give up, but when we are out of chips, then we pretty much have to give up. I'm getting this progressive knockout in here because I think it's going to be an interesting one to talk about. The progressive knockout, I actually haven't made the math yet, but it feels to me that there would be a little less variance on the progressive knockouts, because you can get the knockouts even though you are not going to make the money, so you are going to get money more often in the progressive knockout. And in the progressive knockout you are getting half of the money instantly to your account if you are knocking out a player. Like, I know that Mrs. Speakless has knocked out 2 players with $5 bounties because he had $10 or $5 added to his bounty, or her bounty actually. In Finnish language there is just one word there's a sexless word for he or hers. he or she, so I'm not used to using it. So excuse me. But it's an interesting structure anyways, because usually in the knockout games, if you are having a larger stack than your stack, so in the later phases of this turbo knockout, the knockouts are getting so tiny compared to the amount of money in your stacks. Like if you have quadrupled your stack, it's easily that your stack is almost worth $200, but the knockouts are still something like $5 a piece. So players are making a lot of mistakes in the knockouts, playing to achieve knockouts, and they are playing with huge equities compared to knockouts. So I think that's something that needs to be taken into account. Actually, this is getting slightly interesting as well.
On a quick side note, congratulations to Pusilpet. He has 5-year wedding anniversary. Yeah, maybe you should take today or the rest of the night off.
Yeah, congrats, Pusilpet. That's awesome. And on the turbo knockout against a bad player that bets a whole pot, we are having 2 overcards and a nut flush draw. We are going to get it in. And we are favorites here, clearly, against just pair of 7s. On the flop we had 55% and there were some nice money in, so
I think it's a good decision on Pusilpet's part to take the rest of the evening off. If you have a 5-year wedding anniversary, I think you should just take some time off during that special day, because otherwise it might turn out to be not that special day. If you think about the response that you might get from your wife.
yeah. You can understand a lot of the dynamics in the poker table, but you can't understand the dynamics of women.
Cheers, mate.
Just speaking my mind.
Yeah.
And excuse me if I'm going to sound blunt in ways during this coaching, because usually in Finnish culture, straight talking and some kind of bluntness, especially compared to the US way of life, is expected. So as we are not native speakers and we are definitely not native on the culture, we are going to probably sound blunt at some spots.
There is somebody asking us something in the Finnish forum. Please join the English forum and English chat, because then it's easier to have all the questions at the one place.
So Korpisoturi, we are having different Finnish and different English chats, because I think that it would be really hard for our English users to see the Finnish chat.
And of course we are following the Justin TV's chat to make it more messed up, but if we can keep it in our PokeriMania.com English chat and Justin TV's chat, it would help us a lot instead of having one more chat room.
So we are multi-tabling 6 tournaments, and then we are multi-tabling 3 chat rooms and also the PokerStars lobby to see the interesting tourneys all the time. So we are multi-tabling a lot.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And there might be some confusion, because first we started with PokeriMania.com only in Finnish, and there is a Finnish forum which has been on for 3 months already, and only a couple of days ago we started that English version of that forum. So there might be even some users that haven't seen that already. So please click the English bar at the top of our page and you will find the right space.
And Korpisoturi, in the ace-10 hand, my choices were mainly to call and or 3-bet. And I think that in that spot when ace-10 suited is about the bottom of the range that I'm thinking about 3-betting there. I think I'm going to get more value when I'm going to get to play in position against a bad player. And also I think that one option that I'm not thinking is folding. So I'm never going to fold in that spot, but I'm going to have my options as 3-betting or calling. And this time around I thought that I think the calling is more plus EV than just calling would be more plus EV than 3-betting. But if we would have had a stronger hand, let's say something like ace-queen suited, we are going to 3-bet against a bad player anyway, because we want to make the pot larger pre-flop.
And Kauris, no worries. We can sure understand what you're saying, and if we don't, well then we just may have to use the Google Translator for it. But I think we can manage with your English, no worries.
It's actually interesting that if you are using Google Translate and you are translating to different languages. Now on the 180-man progressive knockout, I'm trying to, because they are not going to have a lot that they can play against, so I'm trying to manage the pot in a way that I'm having like only half a pot left to bet on the river, so we are going to get the money in. And we are getting monies in with full house against bottom pair and a phone player, and that's instant marking as that's an instant purple heart for that mate.
That's insane, completely and utterly insane.
Calling pre-flop and then 3 barrels with bottom pair.
True. And for Callum, yes, we do have some English users, and I'm not sure how many at the moment, but I chatted with one of them earlier, and welcome to Chance and everybody else as well if there are other registered users. And then we have some chat in the Justin TV as well, so we are just trying to manage everything. But if you are watching us through Justin TV, please visit our website. There is our own chat room as well that we are following, so you can see what other people are talking to us straight away.
And also on our website there will be some interesting blogs. There will be a blog about my project where I turned $50 to $5,000, and the original project was to do it in 2 weeks, so I posted the first post to our English site, so make sure to follow it. Most of the project was done in MTT sit and goes, so I think that it's going to be one of the more interesting journeys. And for Ugly Brat on the Justin TV, hello! And we are trying to do this on a more regular basis. Next week we are going to do Sunday as well, at least. And we are trying to get some of our... And now when we are having just like 10 times over it effectively that he's putting in, then we are always thinking that is this a good spot to shove instead of just call. And now when we have seen that the poly is playing on stacks with even small pocket pairs, it becomes a really easy call with jacks. And even the nines would have been an easy call if we would have our jacks in the spot. And now we are getting really nice stacks on the bigger 22 and on $54 turbo. I just didn't even catch his hand. Well, we got it in good. You can't win them all.
Yeah, I think during the next break, which is in 5 minutes, we will put some instructions to Justin TV how to join the other chat, so it gets easier. That's a good thing to say. Thanks, Kykari.
On our break, what it's called, on our break screen there is our website's address as well. So hope to see you as well in there. And well, we'll see what happens in the future. On the $10 progressive knockout, we are betting for value, and I don't think the king is going to change that much. Against weak players, I'm usually more worried about the ace, but I'm still going to, because our hand is still as strong as it's, like in absolute sense, we are still having a pair of tens, but now that the king of diamonds is finishing a flush draw, it's going to be quite a bad card for us. And other kings would have been better, but I would have been shut down with an ace as well. And I'm going to think that the player, if I'm thinking that he's a bit of the worse side or a casual player, I think that he's going to probably be a bit more honest in his ways than a regular player would be, and that's why I think that it's going to be minus EV to carry on with tens. Oh, we are having a hand against the PokerStars Pro.
Watch out! What's your plan there?
I'm going to try to extract some value out of the Brazilian guy. I'm still thinking about him as a Brazilian guy. During my full tilt days, there was one full tilt pro that was one of my favorite players on the table. He played a lot and he played weak, so I liked him a lot.
Oh, now we get to see his hand as well.
Ace Jack. Actually, that's one of the spots that we would have. We gave him space to bet on the river, and also this time around we could have get more on his spot controlling hands than we would have gotten out of the hand that out of his whole range. I think we could have gotten more by checking and giving him an option to bet than betting ourselves. Interesting spot. Usually I don't like folding that much against small blinds, but this time I think I'm going to give him credit. But that's something that I don't do that much if I have space to play against them. On the progressive knockout, we have decently connected and decently suited hand. We can play in position and we can hit hard. So we are going to limp behind. And now when you are overbet it by betting it to over 400, it's going to be easy for us to get rid of our hand.
Yeah, there's definitely space. Not enough space on your screens because now we cannot see everything at one spot, but of course I hope that you don't lose any tables, because otherwise it's a bad thing.
And I think we are having some nice ideas on what we can do. This is a bit of an easier part, because we are trying to keep this as easy to follow as possible. So that's why we are only including 4 tables in here. I think we can try also 6 sometime, because MTT tables are kind of slow. But we can have some kind of special sometime about multi-tabling, and then we can do anything from 10 to 50 tables to see something like when action gets really quick.
Actually, I already filmed you maybe 2 years ago or something when you played 25 tables or something at the moment, and you explained it at the same time, that who are you and what you're doing, and I'm not sure if I can find that video from somewhere. It should be available, but I bet at the moment you could just do better.
Actually, it was during the $50 to 5K project, and it was then also it was about 40 tables that we did. But during the time we had less computer horsepower, and we got more demanding software, so we couldn't capture it on computer in real time because the computer just slowed down with so many tables. But now we are having less demanding applications that we are running. I have changed Hold'em Manager to Poker Tracker 4, and also the software that we are using to capture the screen is taking a lot less of the computer horsepower than it used to. So I think we are going to see something interesting in the real near future, because we are having so many options available to us. And of course we are trying to do like once or twice a week in the English side of things. So hope to see you all around, and probably on my games you are going to see a slightly above average aggression on the tables. I'm still, when I'm doing these coachings, I'm trying to get to a more solid side of things. If I would have been in position, I would be continuation betting this as a bluff, but now I don't think that there is enough value in continuation betting it. When they have already, I don't think that there will be too much what they have, so I'm going to try to steal the pot when they have all checked once and he has checked twice. So I think it's going to be profitable for me to steal the pot. Jack is also a nice card because then I'm getting more draws to the river, and I don't believe that neither one of those would have had a flush. It's slightly, it would have been on the flop, it would have been slightly more possible for 9-9 Albert to have a flush draw, but when he's checking second time and nobody has taken any interest in the pot, I think that he's never going to have a flush there. And we are going to see a special play against Joao, because I'm not c-betting the flop when he has raised me a lot, so I'm going to do a delayed c-bet, and I would have been floating him because he has been betting a lot on the flops, so I would have been tried to float and then steal the pot on the river, and of course I have some equity in my overcards as well.
I think that question from Kauris, whether Hold'em Manager 2 is better than PT4, I think it's that of a wide question that you have 2 minutes time. Can you handle that, or should we go back to that question after break?
I think we are going back to that question after break because it's one of the larger questions. I think there are good sides on both, and if you own one or another, I don't think that there is too much value for you to change the software. So that's something to take into account. Like, I don't think that if you own like Hold'em Manager 2, you can gain a lot switching to Poker Tracker 4. And they are both good, they just take time to learn. And if you have learned one, then it's going to be work to learn the other, because they are quite different in how they work.
But you have tried both of them, so you have quite a good input on what they have offer and what kind of differences they have to each other.
Yeah, and Chance is watching us with a glass of wine, and
good job.
and
Really
we
nice.
I think we are also, last time we explained that if we are getting more than $1,000 a day, we are going to celebrate it with a glass of sparkling wine.
Bottle.
But like last month, I think, because we are both on a diet, we are losing something like 5 or 7 opportunities. 5 5 to 7 opportunities to have a glass of or a bottle of sparkling wine, so we are going to have to take them back at some time.
But if you decide to chip something like 10k, I think it requires a bit more than just a glass or even a bottle. Maybe a nice trip somewhere. Can you promise me?
We'll see.
Oh, it's almost break time. And as
And
usual,
yeah,
we are having our breaks whenever we can. So we put this stream on hold for 5 minutes and we will be back.
so So our tables are resuming. It's kind of funny when you can see that on the bigger $109 game, tournament will resume in 2 minutes. And on we got the Sunday Storm, it's going to resume in 3 minutes, so. But the smaller field sizes mean that the breaks are a bit shorter. Like the break starts the 5 minutes only after every table has completed the hands, and if you are having 10 tables, of course it's going to all the tables are probably be completed in less of a time than if you have 26,000 players. And actually now I think that we need to include more tournaments. Where is the Sunday Million? Or actually, where is the Sunday Million satellite? That's the last satellite of the day that has a lot of guaranteed seats. Could you help me when the big satellite, the Sunday Million, starts? Because it should be interesting, I think, for most of us. And actually I thought that Sunday Million would start at 9 o'clock Finnish time. We are going to register the Sunday Million, but if I can find the biggest satellite to Sunday Million, I'm going to play that as well. Yeah, there's the 100 seats guaranteed. I'm going to be in it to win it. And I missed the start, so. But I'm going to probably take out this progressive knockout because there is going to be so much more happening on the Sunday Million satellite. Yeah, I mean the 100 seats guaranteed, because that's usually the softest satellite that runs, and it's at 198 seats now, so it's going to be a good one. Although I should have noticed that it has been running a long time. No, just 19 minutes. So we weren't a long late, but we were still quite effectively late because it's already the blinds are so high that we only got 15 big blinds. And chance I checked the link. Hopefully that's nice wine that you have there. Having a quality Sunday evening. And thank you, Ugly Brat, that we could find the $11 satellite, because it wasn't easy to find. And sometimes they are having the VIP bashes that are also quite nice, and they are always, you are going to get great value for your FPPs if you can play a VIP bash, and that's something that I recommend if you have time. And usually the VIP bashes are during Sundays, so they will be really something interesting to grind on Sunday as well.
And good luck for Ugly Brad as well. You said that you're in that satellite too. So if you happen to be on the same table, please let us know, because then it might be a bit awkward.
Yeah, usually we are trying to avoid the people on the same table, and because on MTTs it's just so hard to get on the same table, so we are not having so much delay, because the interactivity, it's a lot better when you don't have a huge delay. I think we are still having something like a bit more than 30 seconds of delay, but that's just something that happens on the broadcast because we can't be completely live, but we are trying to be as live as we can.
But of course, if you will get into Sunday Million and to the final table, then we might add some delay into that.
Yeah, we are going to add delay if we are going to get. And there will be one knockout for us. Yay! So we got a knockout on the turbo knockout by knocking out this unhooked with aces. And I think that's the first knockout, but now we have like 5 times the starting stack. I think during Christmas I was pretty far in this $54 knockout when we had our Christmas special, where we were using the webcam to see how our ham was cooking.
Yeah, it might sound a bit strange, but it's very popular in Finland that you will cook your ham many hours during the Christmas time or just before that. And we did exactly that. Instead of showing your face, you showed the ham in the oven. And some action was going on there too.
Oh, we ran against aces on the Sunday Storm on the other screen, but now we have just more space for turnies. And Agibrat, thanks for your information. We are not going to broadcast it. If we are seeing you, we are probably switching tables because now we have some additional tables on the other screen. That's what we have done for the Finnish coachings. If there have been like some kind of suspicion, we have just switched tables most of the time. And if we are playing something that's of higher value, I think our cash game coaches, so PokeriMania, it's just not about us two. There are other great coaches as well. I think we are right now at 5 coaches. We are having Kyberi, that's coaching Pot Limit Omaha. Then we are having Zanfes, that's playing MTTs as well, is a cash game specialist. Then we are having You Lost Bro, that's playing mostly heads up sit and goes and heads up cash. So we have a heads up specialist. And also we are having Kaleon, and he's aiming for Supernova Elite, and he did almost 100,000 BPPs during January. And then we are having me as well, and I have played like every sit and go structure, and I have played a fair share of MTTs as well.
And Kaleon is playing sit and goes as well.
Yeah.
So we have covered almost all the bases. Not the most unusual ones, I guess, but we don't have anyone who's specialized in RAS or something like that. But I guess that most of the people are anyway interested in Texas Hold'em and Omaha, so we've got those covered.
On the $50 turbo knockout, I'm going to give them space to bet and hopefully catch some of the board. And now that we got quads, there is practically just like nothing that we can get value out of. Like some flush draws, and if they are thinking that we are bluffing, then we are going to get some value, but there is not a lot that hits that board because we are blocking everything to basically. So it's going to be that we have a great hand, but we are never getting anything out of it.
And Kauris mentioned dishwasher salmon. That's true. We have had some weird gastronomical experiences in our past, and dishwasher salmon was probably one of the weirdest. It works pretty well, And actually, because it can be found in Wikipedia, it's a real thing and it works. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can always Google it. But mainly you can just prepare your delicious fish in a dishwasher. During the same time you can just wash your dishes, so it's like win-win situation.
It is a win-win situation. You get clean dishes and you get delicious salmon. It's cooked in low temperature, and salmon is a great fish because it's so fatty, so it's not as picky as the less fatty fishes in like perch that you can use in Finnish cuisine. And also when we had the ham, I found out another way to make ham that is from Nigella's recipes, that you cook the ham in Coca-Cola. So
and you didn't just cook, you boil it.
Yeah, you boil your ham in Coca-Cola. So we also boiled one ham and it was really delicious, so it works. So
and I think it was even better than the original way how you prepare ham. Chance is asking if you should have checked the flop as well when you hit the quads.
I think when the turn opens flush draw, I think that I'm going to get more value out of it if I'm betting there, because then if they have a flush draw they can still call me or they can even re-raise me at that point. But if I'm going to check and the flush draw doesn't hit, then there is like nothing that I can get value out of. Like there will be some overcards that will hit the pair so that they can get two pair. Nines should be good enough to shove here. There's just one caller, and usually when one guy bets, one guy calls with just 20 BB stacks. The 20 BB stack usually doesn't have a huge hand, but they can also have something like aces and kings that they are slowing, but they are slow playing, but not right now.
Yeah, it would have been maybe a bit too optimistic to hope a set there with deuces or threes, but well, you can only hope. But obviously it wasn't the case this time. Too bad though. But now I start to wonder if Kauris really tried that dishwasher salmon, because you said that it's working, so have you experienced that yourself?
And actually the dishwasher salmon, it was even better when we did a coriander sauce to it, because the coriander, it has the soapy aftertaste, so then it makes the bit more surreal, and it makes you second guess that what has happened in the dishwasher, or like what happens in the dishwasher stays in the dishwasher or
gets eaten. Yeah, we might be a bit weirdos in that sense, but no worries. We don't force anyone to try our cookings. It's always optional.
On the other screen I got like the worst run out possible, and I still got the pot, but I got a small pot for kings, and that's not something I like that much.
What do you think about your situation now on the Sunday million hand satellite?
I think it's really crappy.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But what's your plan?
I'm going to cross my hands, and I'm going to hope that I can get something that I want to ship in. I think with 4 big blinds it's just too much to call with 8 deuce, but if they all fold I have to call this because I had just 450 to call to play for 1.9k pot, so...
And there's always a chance that you can win that.
Yeah, that's why when you have a chance, you gotta use it.
Yeah.
And now we are. Now, if we were like just neck deep in P, now we are ice deep. So it's going to be hard to catch it there. Now that we are having just 1.5 big blinds, we just can't fold this when there is an option that we can get so much dead money in the pot. So it's enough for us to have the 30% equity against him. And now we got even less, but against his whole range, I think we are going to get more than 30%, and we need something like 20 something points.
Well, at least during the both times, both of your cards were alive, so that's something.
Yeah, that's something that both of our cards were alive both of the time, and also what I'm most afraid of would be that they are having an overpair to my cards, because then I'm having such a low equity that it's going to be hard for us to play it nicely. And now I'm wondering that when we have just 5 tables remaining, that should we open some more. But now I remember that in 12 minutes we are going to have a nice Sunday million going on, so do not open more tables right now. I should have opened more with King Queen off.
For Korpisoturi, I don't think we have to start pushing it by starting to have Swedish coaching sessions as well, because at least I couldn't do that. I can say a few words. Do you want to say something about this hand before?
Nah,
continuing?
I was just thinking that I need like 42% of equity there, and I was calculating in my head that is it going to be enough with all the things taken into account, and then I thought that if his range is going to be a sensible range, ace-10 suited would be a good call there.
Okay, there was just something that gave me a hint that you want to think out loud.
That would have been a good hand to think out loud, but I was so into what you were talking that I didn't remember what I was supposed to say.
Didn't you consider shipping that?
Force.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much without any fold equity, shipping the force would be marginal at best. So we are not going to ship it at that time, but something like sixes would have been instantly shipping it. And I'm thinking because this guy is one of the only tight players in the game. Like you can see here, pretty much the game is quite awesome because I can see so many casual players in the game, so I like these normal speed 180s a lot. Even though they don't run higher than $11, but when they run, they are always a good game.
Ugly Brat is talking about that 8 deuce offhand.
Yeah, 8 deuce suited. So, but that was only about pot odds because we needed less than 25% equity, and when the hand is suited, we are going to get it even against a tight range that the opponent could ship there. And I think there could be something in the Swedish coaching, but also it's going to be that I'm not going to do it as well. I think that with some practice, if we are going to Sweden for something like 2 weeks, we could do it, but like I have been in the Swedish speaking military in Finland for my military service. It was 2003, so it's just 11 years ago. It's not that long ago.
Well, I used to be pretty fluent in Swedish, but it was at least that many years ago. And now that I haven't spoken Swedish in so many years, I think it wouldn't work out. I can just say, jag kan inte tala svenska, yeah, and that's it. But I think it's better to have that in English. But if there are any volunteers, you can always send us some message, and we will definitely consider your suggestion. It's not completely out of the book, but don't try to hold your breath waiting that from us.
Yeah, we are trying to do some stuff in English, so that there will be a larger audience, perhaps in the English side of things. So we are trying to broaden our horizons, but on the Swedish side of poker, I don't know much. We met some Swedes in the PCA, and when they talked with each other, it was quite easy to understand the Swedish, but it was hard to speak, and it's something that only gets better if you are playing or if you are speaking a lot of Swedish. So that's something that's going to be. And Kauris will not be here when we talk about poker in Swedish. I think most Finns hate Swedish. It's a bit like now we live in Estonia, and most of the Estonians our age have been forced to learn Russia. They are having the same feelings on Russia as we are in Finland having on Swedish. Like, Swedish is something that's compulsory to learn, but like if you are visiting Sweden, most of the Swedes, they understand enough English, so you don't need to use Swedish like anywhere. And in corporate speak, like most of the companies that are both Finnish and Swedish, they are having their company language in English. Something like Nordea, a bank, they are having their corporate language in English, so there is very little that you can't achieve in Sweden.
And I think there are quite often the situation that if you go to Sweden and start to speak in Swedish, and if that's not perfect, the Swedish people will automatically translate and switch to English, because then they can guarantee that they understand what you are speaking. So even though you wanted to speak in Swedish, it's not always the case that the Swedish people will talk to you in Swedish, which is kind of weird.
It's worse with like the Finland's Swedish population, because they usually know how to speak Finnish as well, and if you are trying to speak Swedish to them, it's going to be easier for them to switch the language to Finnish. So it's going to be hard to learn Swedish in Finland, even though if you want to.
And if there is someone who doesn't know, Finland is bilingual. Is that the correct word?
Yeah, bilingual.
Bilingual country. So Swedish is official our second language, and that's the reason why we have to learn that when we are growing up.
Ugly Brat, I think most of our coaches are selling private coachings in English as well, but we haven't yet been able to make the coaching announcements in English. So we will be doing it in the future for the English speaking community as well, but right now we have not yet been managed to do so. 9 Queen off. It's slightly interesting because I think that it's going to be a profitable shove, and I don't know if it's going to be even more profitable to min raise fold against sticking sideways and min raise call against Kovacs, so I took the easier option now. But that's something that I'm thinking a lot. That 9 queen is, on the other hand, it's the medium strength hands, but I'm then thinking if it's too weak to be more profitable to push or min raise fold.
I would have done the same, to be honest, but I like my easy options, and perhaps maybe too much so.
And ugly brat, that I don't think that we are having, on the Finnish side of things, I have offered some public private coachings that will have the other player to come in during our stream, so that there will be a public chat and there will be a public showing of hands, and that has been a cheaper option. That's more a viable option for a $4 average buy-in player. And I think that if we are getting more MTT players as our coaches, we are going to have something more interesting for the MTT players as well.
And by the way, all of our coachings are available at our YouTube channel, and the previous MTT coaching in English is there also, but all the rest of them are in Finnish. But if you are willing to learn some Finnish or just want to see what's going on there to get an idea what we usually do, please go and check those out. And you can find our channel at www.youtube.com/PokeriMania.
I think there will be something also in the top banner in our English site that should show you the right direction.
Yes.
Because he has been so wide, I think 8s are going to be, and it's only 25 hands, but you can see a trend there. And ace-6 suited is a horrible raise call, but that's how you make money on the MTTs. You are getting it in usually well at the beginning stages, and on the later stages you are going to steal like your life depends on it.
And since you are a sit and go player by heart, you know what a good stealing feels like, and you are accustomed to do so.
I'm going to try to put the Finnish private coachings on the... All of our coaches have been coaching in English, our English clients as well, so you can use Google Translate, but I'm not guaranteeing that you are seeing the right thing, because some of our coaches are using pretty colorful language, and colorful Finnish is something that's horribly hard for Google Translate to work on.
And anyway, any kind of Finnish writing is really difficult for Google Translate. So you might get an idea, but it's not like translating from Spanish to English, for example. It just gets really weird, because Finnish is not that simple of a language. But I hope you get some kind of idea of what we are offering there. And we will make those announcements of English coaching later on when we get the translations from our coaches.
And also, we are right now, the English side is just 1 week old, so we are not, or it's less than 1 week old, so we are still improving the English side of things, so don't be scared when we don't have everything ready yet.
Kauris, I think the word that you are looking for Sian Saksa is gibberish.
No, it's going to be Pig Latin.
Ah, yeah.
So it's not German, it would be Pig German if it would be directly translated from. And this is going to be an interesting spot to be overbet bluffing. Because I think that we are having the weaker hand here, but we are not thinking that he would have anything to call us. But if we are going to put in a half a pot raise, he can then still have enough in his stack that he could think that we are folding, so we are now eliminating bluffs from his options completely by shoving ourselves, even though it's I think it's slightly a special play, but those are some of the special plays that you should include in your game when you know what you are doing.
Should we write that pick Latin for Kauris so he can use that later on the poker tables? Eli sian latina suomeksi in Finnish.
But so on the English chat you can see our poker coaches, they are in blue, our team of moderators are in green, and our regular members are in red, and Dayah as our administrator will be in pink. So I think
Pride fuchsia. That's one thing that we are always fighting about, the colors and their specific names. But yeah, pink.
I'm usually telling her that men are a bit like old Windows computers. There is only 16 colors available. You can say that something is red, yellow, green, pink. Pink is also, it's kind of pushing it, but there aren't more than 16 colors that a person can reliably know. And like for females, it's something like 16.7 million colors. They are thinking the world in true color, and there is like, you can say something like, this is autumn kind of orange in the first weeks of August. And you are like then thinking, WTF is that?
Yeah, it's only you. All the rest of the world knows what the autumn colors are.
I need to get some support from the male community here that when women are decorating, they are describing the colors that you have no idea that the color even exists, that they are not making it up. Like, and usually if they have a fancy sounding color, the color also has a fancy price.
So that's the reason why you are so afraid of my ideas regarding the colors. But it's kind of tough because you also have your opinion. You are not like most of the guys that always just say that, okay, do whatever you want to do. I don't know if you changed the curtains or dyed your hair, but you have your own eye for the color, even though it's a bit different. So I cannot do everything what I want, and that's why I'm asking your opinions as well, even though it's sometimes it makes things a little bit more difficult.
This is interesting when I know that Kauris is using Google Translate, and there's some roasts should be informed that speak English. Yeah, that there are some, I think he's mentioning usually the casual players from Brazil or some other country that like their own language as the best language.
And roast must be feisty.
Yeah, casual player.
See, Kauris, we know what you think. No worries, you can keep on chatting.
And Korpistori can only notice is the color red or green. Red is bad and green is happy. Greetings, you lost bro. Welcome to our special Sunday evening.
So I should ask Chanfes for decoration tips. Yeah.
Or Chanfes's fiancée or wife.
No, it was Chanfes who bought the curtains in their grinding.
What?
Yeah, it was his doings. Definitely. Yeah, he said that.
What?
Yeah, Chanfes is one of our coach, and he has a grinding office with two of his friends, and we visited that place 3 months ago, and it was kind of like a man cave-ish place, but there were curtains that were quite a nice green color, and there was one flower that was almost alive, and I gave some compliments for him for decorating that place that much.
It's good that you try.
But I think I wouldn't go as far as asking help from him, to be honest. But it was a good effort.
For the bigger $109, I think it's quite close with 15 big blinds. When there is enough of antes and also in blinds, I think that it's a bit more plus EV to just ship it. I don't know if it's more plus EV to fold or ship it, but calling is pretty much not an option when you are having this little stack left, and then we are going against aces, and as usual going against aces sucks, and we are getting out of that tournament as well.
Tough luck.
But we are almost in the money for the $55 turbo knockout.
Can you show the lobby of it?
Yeah, just a moment. There is 5-figure payout for the winner, so it's going to be awesome, hopefully.
Because
and there are safe payouts, or if I make a deal on the final table, we can avoid spending most of it having an awesome trip to somewhere in the world.
Avoid?
Yeah.
Avoid? What are you talking about? You don't want to go to a warm place with me. Do you know how cold it is outside? It's
no, and I don't wanna hear about it.
Because it's way too cold to go outside. That should say enough. And there has been snowing for last day or so. So actually, if you want to go outside, you probably have to do some snow work.
Oh well. I did it yesterday, but more snow, more problems. I think we are having quite nice stacks on a few tables. On the knockout we are not having as large stack as we would hope. But when we see that there are 172 players remaining and the smallest stack is 0, we know that we are doing our first in the money finish from the $54 turbo knockout today.
Let's hope it will be the not last one and just the beginning of the rise till the final table.
If that's the only one, but it's a good final table position, I don't mind. But if it's the only one and it's min cashes, then it's going to be an expensive Sunday for me.
Yeah. But let's not worry about that at the moment.
Yeah. Hello, Boikki. Welcome to the English side of things.
Ugly Brat probably got so confused about that PokeriMania.com Finnish site that he just lost a will to write anymore to our chat there.
Korpistry, I think also the ace queen off. It's quite standard there, but ace jack off is probably going to be a bit too bad. I'm surprised that Google Translate works pretty well, but I don't think that Google Translate is the way to go with Finnish stuff, especially if you are trying to purchase something, because Google Translate can mangle the prices. And if Google Translate mangles the prices, then it's going to be a bit difficult. But as I said, if you are interested in some coach, you can always send them a private message, and I think most of them will be pleased to tell you more in English before making a decision, and before we can make something up for the English side as well. And on the Finnish side, you can see that most of our coaches, they are having video previews on what there will be in their coachings, and we are trying to do that in English as well, when we are getting our coaches to do some English stuff as well.
And sittaristruktuuri, it's combined with two words, sittari and struktuuri. And sittari is sit and go game. And struktuuri is a structure, as you could probably guess. And if you see some other weird words that you definitely need to know, you can always write them down and we can translate those for you.
So if Mido is online, we can always just say that se ei ole lihtne rääkki eesti keeles. It's not simple for us. We can understand pretty much all the Estonian that there is when we have lived in Estonia for about 2 years, but speaking Estonian, it's still incredibly hard. And Estonia, it's the same problem as with Sweden, that most of the Estonians, if they are young ones, they are speaking great English, and if they are a bit older, they are speaking great Finnish because they have learned it from TV that run, because the Finnish TV, you could watch it in Estonia during the Soviet times when the TV wasn't so good in the Estonian side. Actually, there is a good movie about the Finnish television in Estonia. Disco ja tuumasoda.
Actually, it was kind of funny. I went to a furniture shop some few days ago, and there was old lady, maybe some 50 years old or so, and I asked her whether she speaks English or Finnish, and she said that nope, but she can understand Finnish, but only speak in Estonia or Russia. So I spoke in mainly Finnish for her, she spoke to me in Estonian, and she knew what I said and I knew what she said, and we got everything sorted out. So it was kind of funny in that sense that we could both get by without speaking the same language, even though they're close, but they're not that close that if I had been here in Estonia for only 2 days, I wouldn't have understood much, but now it goes pretty well.
This is also interesting. We opened UTG, that's pretty much a speculative open, and when he 3-bets us small, I think there is still profitability for us to call. And then on the top right, I hate this spot when button opens small blind 3-bets and we are getting an option to 4-bet it in. Actually, when it's button against small blind, I think we need to go there, because I think the small blind will be shoving something like ace-9 suited, ace-10 off, probably all the pairs and crap.
Including aces.
All the pairs including aces, so...
Tough luck.
But do you know what?
We still got some more tables.
Yeah, we are having some more tables.
But I think it would have been too weak if you hadn't pushed that, since it was button and small blind play. So it just screams too much of an position play anyway.
Yeah, and we were quite unlucky that he woke up with aces there.
Again. Unlucky again, but
I think that was third or fourth time today that we have been playing against aces, and we have lost every single one of those. But it happens. Markus, it depends on what tournament you are going in. If you are going to the tournament that is the tournament for Finns, like Suomi-turnaus, then you can get by with Finnish so that they are using only dealers that know how to speak Finnish. And also then table language can be Finnish. But in general games, I think that you are I think that they are only trying to get by with Estonian and English, and so you are probably not going to understand everything in table chatter, and you won't be able to discuss with your friends in Finnish. But I think they are more relaxed with their rules than, for example, in the Finnish casino.
but generally speaking, you can hear Estonian and Russian at the poker tables here in Tallinn, and they are both allowed, I guess, and English.
It's going to be hard for us in 11 minutes when the daily challenge all-in shootout will be beginning, and there will be over 60,000 players. So if you are not yet used your daily challenge tickets, you should be registering in the daily challenge now, because it's going to be one of the latest possible days to use your tickets. So use your tickets, because they are no good to you after the promotion has gone by.
And there isn't even 60,000 players yet. Good value. Hard to beat.
Well, it's like there is going to be, and we are having a crappy spot in the Sunday Million. We are going to be 4-betting, and depends on if he's going to be 5-betting. Actually, if he's 5-bet shoving, I think that he would have more weaker hands. If we c-bet this flop, we are going to get like kings and jacks to fold, but kings are the only part of the range I think that he has that would be good for us to make folds, so I'm going to check it. And now he's going to have less aces in his range, so I'm going to bet it now on the turn. And I think only a small bet will suffice, because also our hand screams that we are going to have an ace there.
Jacks, nines.
Jacks, nines. A bit surprising that he doesn't fold jacks there. And that's also one part that we are losing value. And I'm hating it here in the turbo knockout. We haven't had a hand in ages, and we are drying up.
Boik is asking, in what range are you going in from big blind with your 3 big blind stack?
Actually, why I didn't go in with 5s?
There is a mean bet from Uteke, UTG, showing.
That's still that should be close. And with 7-2 suited, it's just too weak. But I'm going in with something like top 30% of my range. So like, I'm not going in with any ace because I think that against two guys that they are having aces, but I'm going in with any suited ace, like ace 6 plus. Then I'm going in with practically any good Broadway, a lot of good suited Broadways and Broadways with something like down to something like King 8 suited and 10 8 suited, 9 8 suited, that are getting decent equity against these guys. Most probable ranges, because in three-way pots you are going to get more equity with the suited hand. And yeah, 5-5 would be probably a good call. So, and I think also the 8-9 suited wasn't a good open in the bigger 22. It's going to be spooky in the long run. And that's also why it's good that you chat, because I'm making mistakes here as well. And I think that I'm making even more mistakes when I'm trying to explain stuff. And one thing that I have noticed when I'm doing coaching, when I'm explaining somewhere why I folded something, it's incredibly hard to do any other decision in the tables than fold. So, and there is also good that there's discussion, because it's going to be better if we are thinking about the optimal lines and not about what I just did. In the Sunday Million we can set mine this against two loose guys, and I think that we are going to get a lot of value from them if we are going to hit a set. And I'm going to let them bet. There is not a lot of bad cards, tens, jacks, but I think that we are going to try to get as much money in as possible. And as we can see, the Sunday Million, it's an awesome game going on right now. I think my table is just awesome. I think I would like to play with every single one of these players.
That's a good start, definitely.
And now we are heads up against the guy that bets, and we are going to give him space to bet. And still I don't think that the card is that bad, so we are going to give him space to 3-barrel, and we are trying to get it in. And we are very lucky in that he hit 2-pair.
Awesome. He probably wouldn't have called that shipping without the other pair.
Yeah. And Ugly Brat is from Switzerland. You are speaking in 4 different languages. Yeah, we have our resident bassist, Markus Y. And in Finnish there is the same language for, or same word for string and for language, and there is a usual joke that what's common with bassists and an outsider in Switzerland, and it's going to be 4 foreign languages or 4 foreign strings for a bassist. But like in Finland, I think that the more probable second language or more spoken second language would be English instead of Swedish. And my hat is off to you in Switzerland if you are speaking all the 4 languages and English as well. So it's a pretty awesome achievement.
Definitely. But Leningrad Cowboys, is that the only thing you know about Finland? That's kind of weird, but good, I guess.
And I think the $22 Hold'em is also going to a break in just a moment. And we saw Eric Wine like shipping 3 times the pot here, which usually combined with his statistics means that he's going to be a player I like to play more against. And we are now going to a break. We are going to be back when the tables resume, so we'll see you in about 5 to 4 minutes.